So we'll talk to Kari Aish Ali coming up just now about Surah Ar-Rahman specifically, and inshallah we'll play some. We'll get him to recite some a few verses of the Holy Quran specifically around Ar-Rahman in particular, right? But to get us there, so though Eid Monday, Tuesday, Eid will certainly be on the day of Eid. We know that part. Um, there's an Eid gathering called, I understand, called the Revert Eid Gathering. Whether that's the proper name, we'll find out. But it focuses really on a fascinating aspect of people who are Muslim who reverted to Islam. So, it does mean that the majority of their families historically are not of the Muslim faith, and they that poses all sorts of challenges in how you spend your Eid day. Now, certainly, like myself, who's born into Islam, um, would look forward to spending time with family, all family and friends when time allows. In fact, we never have enough time to meet as much family as we can. Now, the flip side may occur when people don't have enough family um, that are of the same faith, especially on the day of Eid. So. We're going to find out about this gathering because I believe it sort of answers that question and provides a solution to that. Roomanah Hassan Bota is with me from was the founder of the Muslimah Stand Tall. So, Roomanah, appreciate your time and salam alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, good talking to
Shukran
you.
for having me on the show. Yes.
Thank you so much. Right, we'll I understand we'll chat to Sadia Rantseli as well. I'm going to see if we can align her up. I think we are doing that. Sadia Rantseli is involved in an organization called Sistership United. Indeed, goodness, I love the names that you guys come up with, right? From Muslim Stand Tall to Sistership United. Indeed, Sadia, appreciate your time. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah so much for having us here also.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure, and I think it's very insightful in terms of what you're doing. So, in fact, let's start with that, Roomanah. What is it that you're doing? There's this event coming up on the day of Eid. What's the plan?
What's the plan? Well, the event is basically, a catch-all actually for a few situations that exist in the communities. So it's a collaboration by a few, I think, Muslim-run organizations and others, just to celebrate Eid, bring together our diverse Muslim community in one place. And then including, of course, solving issues such as reverts who have nowhere to spend Eid. We also do have some orphanages, for example, coming through who don't have family that they spend Eid with. But the goal is really community building and to bring everyone together, into one place to have a good Eid, really.
Okay, and is this the first time this is happening, or have I missed something over the last few years?
It is definitely the first time.
And
So
what?
this event
Okay,
is like a springboard for all these organizations who we do engage with each other, on a day to day in terms of the grassroots work that we do. But this would be the first event of this nature where we're actually collaborating to the extent that we are.
okay.
So
Now, by the way, I live very close to Emmarentia Dam, which we'll talk about just now. And my challenge is, and this is the exact opposite of your challenge. My challenge is, considering I'll spend so much time with my family over lunch, all invited to my home, is how do I find the time, the free time to come and visit you guys? And inshallah, that will happen. For most other people who are reverts in Islam, and I don't like to use that word all the time. I mean, you're Muslim now, finished, right? Is the challenge is how do I fill up the spaces with people that connect with me on the same faith, right? So you've heard my intro, Roomanah. Maybe just is that what inspired this event? I mean, what was the thought process in terms of having the event? It's not just a feeding scheme, not at all, right?
it was actually Ikramul Muslim. So the rights of Muslims, which is something that underpins the work that is done by all these organizations. It's all about serving the people, seeing what their needs are, and then addressing them. And each of the organizations that are collaborating do this in sometimes parallel, similar ways, and some different ways. But the underlying principle was the same. And what had happened was Muslim on Call, which was previously featured on Salam Media,
Hmm.
thought of the idea when they actually attended an event that was a bring and share. like this. And that event was just so nice. They enjoyed it. It was like a celebration. And the thinking was, wow, can we bring this to more Muslims, to the Muslims who don't get to have this experience, to the Muslims who need it, particularly on Eid. Can we bring everyone together, have that Ubuntu and that oneness? And
Okay.
when they pitched it to the other organizations, we all loved the idea, the spirit of doing this for people. And so this bring and share idea was born, and we decided to make it a mass Eid.
Well, Alhamdulillah, I think it's wonderful. Let me then bring in Sadia Rantseli. Sadia, give me your thoughts in terms of when you were part of this think tank that decided, okay, let's go for it. What gave you a thumbs up for yourself? What spoke to you?
Okay, so like when the idea came up, because last year in November, the sistership, we hosted a function where we got to meet each other because we all knew each other via the WhatsApp group,
Mm,
which gives the support to each of the sisters. And then for the first time, a lot of us got to meet each other in person, and that was just remarkable also. And then
mm,
the idea came up that with Eid coming up, most of the ladies that are in the group either they embraced Islam through
mm,
marrying a husband who is a Muslim, meaning that their background is that they don't have anyone else that is a Muslim. And then personally, from my background, I grew up at an orphanage, which was an Islamic orphanage, and there, like, our Eids were massive because there
mm,
were
mm,
organizations such as these that would come and bring gifts for us, and like our Eid celebration would just be something out of this world. And like now that I think about it, back then I always would wonder, how do they do it? Like where one group of women just come in and then they show up with 50 plus gifts for each and every one of us, with each our names, like they were personalized and everything
mm,
was so
mm,
well put
mm.
together. And then I
Beautiful.
always used to be like, I would like to, like not just see how this operates. And then I think it was a silent dua that I made, for me to actually be part of something this great. And I'm based all the way in the far east end. And somehow I came into contact with Apashazia Hessam, who is the founder of the sistership. And Alhamdulillah,
Okay.
we've worked so well together. And then when we had the meeting in November, then we thought that we should have a little Eid, like where we have, because she's had it the previous years, like where it was just for the Muslimas around the mid-range area
Okay.
who
Mhm.
didn't have anyone to celebrate Eid with. So she invited them into her home. So already we were planning on having something like this. And then when Muslim on call contacted us and they said that they want to have, something of this kind, then, it was just another amazing way in which Allah just put a plan that we thought could be so small into something this massive. And,
Okay. Well,
like
it sounds very good. Alhamdulillah. Let me ask
the,
you this then, Sadia. So, you made the point that you actually grew up in an orphanage. So you wouldn't have maybe some of the challenges that Roomanah has, that she may have a family that may not be part of her faith, right? So therefore, typically for you, before this week, how would your typical Eid's day be then, Sadia?
So like after I got married, our Eids became extremely quiet because my family, my in-laws are all Muslims. Like our entire close family is Muslims, but it was just us. So it was quiet and the total opposite of what I was used to. And
Yeah.
now as a mother, I felt that, like this is something that I would like my sons to grow up knowing, that Eid is something that should be celebrated with a whole lot of other Muslims and the sharing of gifts and all of those stuff. So the element that I liked of this Eid mess is, like where we each get to bring a gift that we're going to share with another strange Muslimah, just for the sake of building unity as Muslims. So,
Alhamdulillah, I mean that's so great.
yeah.
I mean, if I look at the Hajj example, they talk of the day of the Hajj as the day of the tumult, which talks about this massive coming together of people. So it's not something that you spend alone. You want to be in a den. You want to have this crazy crowds, whether you're making a tawaf or an Arafat, right? And hopefully this will be symbolic of that. Romana, what has been your experience, up to now in terms of your life now as a Muslim, and the contradictions that you face, say on the day of Eid specifically.
So my experience has largely been in working with the community, which I've been doing since which I've been doing since 2007. This group that I run now started as this little talim and little sort of charity organization where we would provide groceries to the attendees of the talim. So we worked in El Dorado Park and Soweto, and that's where I came into contact with young women, as young as 14 and 15, living in households where they were the only Muslimah.
Mm.
And subsequently, as the work of the group evolved, also the other challenges related to not being Muslim, or reverting to Islam. And then also, I guess in my personal life, so I'm surrounded by a lot of reverts, but I'm a born Muslim. My parents are Muslim, um, and just the rivets that I know that are close to me as well in my personal life, also seeing some of the challenges that they have, etc. This is how I became familiar with the whole situation, and
Mm.
informs some of what my organization tries to do, which is cater
Okay.
to Muslim
Yeah.
women, like in all spheres. So one of them would be if you're a revert and you now need support, um, yeah, in specific
Okay.
situations.
And
Yeah.
and just staying with Eid specifically first for now. I mean, generally, and so we're not talking about you now. We're talking about those reavers that you're aware of, right? What were the challenges that they faced on the day of Eid? Let's say that you were aware of over the last few years.
I think it's just isolation. So they don't have anyone to spend Eid with. They don't have, any activities or any community that they belong to. So they find Eid to be a very lonely time, where they're all alone. Their local masajid or Muslim centers don't actually have any Eid activities that they can attend. So they might spend Eid, alone at home, or they just, yeah, they go for
Hmm.
Eid Salah, and that's when their Eid ends.
And you certainly don't want that, right? But perhaps just to Sadia, your thoughts then. So in terms of the event, I mean, you would have explained it. I think it's pretty simple. Bring a gift to share, bring along your picnic baskets, mats, umbrellas, chairs. I mean, that's pretty simple. And there's kids. How many people are you expecting to be there, Sadia? And this is going to be at Emmarentia Dam, right? Joburg, got it. Joburg Botanical Gardens, Emmarentia. So linked to the dam itself. How many people are you expecting, Sadia?
So far, like we've already gone over, I think the last that I checked it was over 700 people
Oh
that
my
have
goodness.
filled out
Yeah.
the form, because we created this Google form where you get to put in your information. And there's also transport that is provided from the different areas. So that was basically how we could keep track of how many people will be showing up. And because it's a family event, so the last that I checked, it was like slightly over 750 people.
Okay, that's
So
that's phenomenal. Yeah, that's absolutely
gee, it
phenomenal.
is, it is, it
Romana,
is
you may want to
phenomenal.
comment on that. I mean, so besides people coming together, maybe you can answer this in one go. One is, is it open to people like myself who are born into Islam, or are you looking at specifically reverts? I understand the core reason is reverts, right? You're not going to chase somebody away if they're interested to want to join, right, Romana?
Um, the core reason is Muslims. So it's, as I said in the beginning, a catch-all. So anyone can come. It's just about having a great Eid and enjoying it. And one of the benefits is that revert. So anyone who doesn't have a better way to spend Eid can now have a great Eid.
So
And
basically,
it's also
it's a
about
town
bringing the
square setup.
diverse
If they don't know where
Muslims
to
together.
go, they can just congregate together, right? Would there be any formalities that take place? I mean, besides the sharing of the gifts and sharing of the chow and all that, would there? I mean, are there any speeches? Are there any talks? Would there be a
Yes.
salah? Would that sort of happen? Because I think Zohar Salah
Yes.
may sort of fall into that period.
Yes, so when people arrive at the venue, there'll be registration, and there'll also be some talks, and we've got some great entertainment planned, alhamdulillah. We may have Ubuntu Islam on the day, and some dhikr as well, some Malay style dhikr. We're also planning, yes, Salah, Dhuhr time. to take place. I think it's important just to emphasize there will be no Eid Salah on the day. So people are clear they're coming for lunch onwards, inshallah. It will start at 11 a.m. And we will be sending out communications around certain aspects like health and safety, etc. on the day.
Okay. Well, I mean, I found out about it purely because of Salam Media. They the station, they alerted me to it. So I understand that, of course, Salam Media is a broadcast partner. How important, therefore, and Sadia, perhaps you can answer this finally, that the Salam Medias of the world and other media covers and amplifies what's likely to happen on the day of Eid.
The importance is for us to get the message across, like for those that may have not heard of it now, for them to know that in the future there is something that will cater for you also, so that you don't have to spend Eid alone in your own little space. And like based on the sistership, what we do is because most of the members in the sistership are reverts from other religions where there's celebrations and all of these things that's happening. And now when you become a Muslim, you experience this seclusion and being away from what you normally know. So with Salam Media being able to broadcast this and basically send the message around it, as Muslims, we do celebrate. And this is something that I've always been answering around, like where people will be like, okay, you Muslims don't drink. How do you all celebrate? You're saying that you're going to be celebrating. So this will basically give them a picture of how Muslims celebrate, and by being united and, having a feast and just basically having a good time, inshallah.
Absolutely. Well, I think your point is well amplified there. So understand that it's from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Joburg Botanical Gardens, Emmarentia. Is there a contact number or a website, Roomanah? Just finally, I can direct people to. They want to know more besides the fact that it's being posted on various social media pages.
Yes, you can use the Muslima on Call Facebook page just to contact, or Muslima Stentor. So any one of the organizations that are on the poster, you can contact on the social media.
Okay, so Muslim on Call or many of the other organizations as well. Absolutely.
Yes.
I tell you what, inshallah, so I live close by, and if I can escape from family for a while between meals, it may be later than 3 o'clock, but or earlier or 11. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Inshallah. Hopefully, I'm going to convince my family to come along as well. Inshallah. I think it's a brilliant
Inshallah.
idea. So
Inshallah.
Roomanah
Look
Hassan
forward
Bota,
to
thank you
seeing
for
you.
your time. Sadia Rantseli, appreciate your time as well. So this is such an important intervention. This community mass Eid lunch, primarily not just coming together on the day of Eid, which I think is a given, but particularly to give spaces to people who are reverts to Islam, so their family lineage to a large degree is not Muslim, and you want them to spend time. It's a commonality. If you like football and it's a World Cup, you want to spend time with people who are enjoying football. So think about that on the day of Eid. Who do you want to spend your time with if you're a Muslim? You want to spend time with your family and your friends who connect on the same faith, so you can share that. That's why this is an excellent idea, and the good news is that Salam Media will cover this all throughout that day on the day of Eid. We'll chat to Kari Yaish Ali right after this.